let's move on because I haven't found your weak point yet, and I'm determined to find it.
I'm sure it's there.
So, what is an uncomfortable truth about the effectiveness of SEO that clients don't want to hear? I gotcha.
Well, I just don't want to be. I have an answer. I have the answer that I think is right, but it's really, if your product or service sucks, it doesn't matter how many people I send to your website. If what you're selling isn't good, you're not going to get anywhere, right? It's like if you're selling snake oil, just like we sometimes talk about other SEO agencies that are selling snake oil, and that's a difficult thing for our industry. But if that's what you're selling, or you're selling a product that you haven't proven can actually work, then it's really tough. It doesn't matter how many people I send to your website. We could send hundreds of thousands of people there, and you still might be struggling because your offer sucks. And that's an unfortunate truth, and it's normal, and it happens in business, and it's not anything to be ashamed of. It's just that the thing that I would always recommend to somebody before they come to an SEO agency is prove that your model works. Prove that you have what it takes to get a client, to get someone to pay you for your product or service, and be happy about it. And at least maybe just be happy to leave a review, even if that's only a couple people that you cold called, or you reached out to, or you went and met in person and said, hey, please try this. Even if you're giving it to them for free, whatever it is, just to get some feedback that says, hey, I would pay you real money for this, or here's real money for this product or service. If you do that first, then we can really scale this thing, right? And it's like a good example that I would give is like, if let's say you have let's say you're a farmer, right? If you can produce really good apples, even on a couple trees, I can build you an orchard.
No, there you go. It's one of the other things that I had the unfortunate realization is that sometimes the offer is fine even, but it's the website.
Yeah, that's true. But I will say that, crappy websites can still sell. They can still convert if they got enough people coming and the actual product is good. But yeah, the presentation is huge. And one of the things I'll talk about with for websites, for instance, right, is websites are kind of like, if you compared them to like a physical retail store, right? They're your digital store. And you could have the most beautiful store in the world that sells the exact products to like if the right customer comes in and they see your store, they say, this is the most beautiful, perfect store. I will give you all my money. I want to be here. If you place that store in the middle of a cornfield in Nebraska, no one's coming in.
No.
So yes, it is important to have that pretty store that helps convert, that helps sell, that helps showcase what it is that you do and makes it really palatable and make those people want to buy. But if you have no traffic coming to that website, if you have no people walking in the door of your store, you don't have a business. No,
it's the unfortunate reality, which is why website development, some people spend ungodly amounts of money on that stuff. I won't say who it was, but there's a particular web designer that I met a little while ago, and I went and checked out their website because I was expecting to be impressed. Like, you do this for a living. Garbage. Yeah. It was not good.
Yeah.
No, it's
they're not all created equal. It's like I can, there's a difference. Like I could pull out my iPhone and record video, right? But it's different than being in the studio with proper equipment and somebody that really knows how the whole system works. There's a different level of quality in all these things that we do.
Same thing goes with SEO, I'm sure.
Right, yeah, absolutely.
So you got away from that one, but this next one is going to.
Okay, I'm ready for it.
So SEO, you guys keep going on about how it's a monthly process. It's continuous. You're always refining it. Why can't my website just be done? Why do I have to keep adjusting it?
I mean, it's because your competition's not sleeping.
Oh, heck, you're right.
if you want to sleep on it, you want to take a break, you want to stop, that's fine. But eventually someone is going to come and they're going to take your spot. Because only one person can be number one. That's the nature of being number one, right? There's only one person there. And in all games, business is a competition. It's a very competitive competition. I heard it put once that it is a 24/7 competition. In any competition, if you want to be number one, you have to practice, you have to work, you have to compete. And if you start sleeping on that, you don't maintain it, you don't keep it up, and you start slipping, you will slip from number one, and then your competition is going to start eating your lunch.
So what does that continuous month-to-month adjustments and maintenance look like?
What do you mean by that?
So what do you guys do from month 6 to month 7? Like, what are you guys changing in that time?
Yeah, at that point, it's really going to depend on where you're currently ranked, right? If we've gotten you to number 1 in, like I said, we start with 50 keywords. If we've gotten you number 1 for all 50 of those keywords, we add in another 50 keywords and we start working on that because we want to continue to expand that net that we're casting to capture as much audience as we possibly can. And then we also do the things that keep you maintained on top. So once you're at that maintenance level for certain keywords, it becomes a little easier, and we don't have to put as much resources into maintaining as we do to climbing. To climb the mountain is much harder than to walk around the top of it, to walk around the summit, right?
Right.
You still have to keep in motion. You still have to keep, defend your place, but it's a little easier once you already have ascended to there to stay up there. And that depends on the keywords. Some keywords are super competitive where you're constantly fending off your competition and you really have to keep efforts going there, but some of them aren't. And so we'll look at those keywords that are a little easier to maintain, and we'll move some of that budget into new keywords to cast a wider and wider net so that you're capturing more and more business month over month. Because the overall result that we want to see is that your traffic continues to increase, so your leads continue to increase, and so your revenue continues to increase.
So remind me, it's been a while since we've had this conversation, but keywords. So are these just words that are on my website's page where if I just keep saying one of my things is I run a podcast studio. If I just have a webpage that says the word podcast 50 times in a row, does that mean I got the keyword? Am I doing well?
I mean, you have the keyword in there, so Google knows it's a podcast, but there's a lot of other podcasts. There's a lot of competition there. So you get a little more specific, right? So you're getting into the specific type of podcast that you do. And, keywords, the specific science of keyword research isn't really my specialty. Like definitely Britt is the expert on that. And she does a lot of the keyword research, or helps our team run keyword research at least. I would say that, getting those keywords on your website is important, but that is one of the early steps, right? So what your own website communicates is one thing. And then the other bigger, more important, honestly, piece of that after you have that set is that you have other websites that are also saying this podcast or that, or pointing back, verifying your podcast's quality and authenticity and all the things that make Google trust it.
I think in a previous episode, Britt was referring to that as backlinks. Is that right?
That's correct.
All right. That's good to know. I'm learning.